All right, let's get right into it. We're going to unpack the hidden psychology behind taking days to reply to a text. And spoiler alert, it's probably not what you think. I mean, have you ever done this? You read a message and just freeze? You know that feeling, right? The notification pops up, maybe you even read the whole thing from your lock screen. And you know, you should reply, but for whatever reason, you just can't. It's like you're paralyzed. And then boom, hours turn into days. And right here, this is the huge gap between what people think is happening and what's actually going on. They might assume you're lazy, rude, maybe even uncaring. But the psychology tells a totally different story. Your brain is actually fighting a battle. It's overloaded, it's trying to protect you, or honestly, it's just plain burnout. So let's start with that first one, the overloaded brain. We're going to look at why a simple little text can feel like this heavy weight. It all boils down to this idea of emotional demand. See, a text isn't just information. To your brain, it's a request for your emotional energy and for your time. And that's exactly why when you're already feeling stressed or stretched thin, even a super simple message like, "Hey, how are you?" can feel absolutely massive. So what does your brain do? Well, it goes into protection mode. Think about it. Your brain can only handle so much emotional pressure at once. So when it's under stress, its number one job is to reduce those demands. And delaying a reply, that's a super quick way to create some distance. And for a mind that feels like it's drowning, that little bit of space can feel like this incredible relief. It's basically a survival instinct kicking in. Okay, so that's one piece of the puzzle. But it's not always about being overloaded from the outside. Sometimes the pressure is coming from inside. And that brings us to our next point, the perfectionist paralysis. I'm sure you've been in this loop, right? It's so exhausting. You read the message, you start mentally drafting that perfect reply, but then you start overanalyzing everything. Is the tone right? What if they take it the wrong way? What will they say back? You go down this rabbit hole until no reply feels good enough. So you tell yourself, okay, I'll just wait until I have more mental energy. But that perfect moment, it never seems to show up. And here's the thing you have to remember. You aren't ignoring them. Not really. Your mind is just stuck. It's stuck trying to control an outcome that is completely uncertain. It's really a fight with anxiety, and it has almost nothing to do with how you actually feel about that person. All right, so this leads us to another really interesting reason, one that's sometimes intentional, but a lot of the time it's subconscious. And that's all about protecting your peace by using delayed replies to set some healthy boundaries. This quote really hits the nail on the head. It says a highly effective way to protect your peace is to simply limit access rather than removing people entirely. And that's so true, isn't it? You don't always want to completely remove someone from your life, but you just can't handle being available 24/7. So the solution isn't some big dramatic breakup, it's just managing your accessibility. So what does limiting access actually do for you? Well, first off, it gets rid of that pressure to be on all the time. It creates this healthy, quiet space. And honestly, that can actually save our relationship, not hurt it, because you avoid burnout. And maybe the most important thing is, it lets you choose where your energy goes. Now, this brings us to our last points, and honestly, it might be the most critical one. Sometimes taking forever to reply isn't just a strategy. It's a huge flashing warning sign. It's a sign that you are deep into, or at least getting dangerously close to, total emotional burnout. There's this psychological term for it called emotional contagion. And it's exactly what it sounds like. If you're a person who's really in tune with others, you don't just notice that your friend is stressed. You actually absorb it. You start carrying their emotional weight like it's your own. And if you're that friend, the emotional support system for everyone, this path is almost guaranteed. You carry one person's weight, then another's and another's, until you're just completely and utterly exhausted. And at that point, your mind isn't just asking for some peace and quiet. It is screaming for it. And that replying to texts, that becomes your brain's last-ditch effort to just breathe and recover. So let's wrap this all up. The next time you find yourself staring at your phone and that wave of guilt or paralysis washes over you because of an unanswered message, I want you to remember this. There is nothing wrong with you. Your mind isn't broken or lazy, and you are not a bad person or a bad friend. It's actually using these hidden patterns to do something really important. Protect your peace. It's a defense mechanism, a feature, not a bug. And let's end with this really powerful idea. Understanding all this stuff isn't about making excuses. It's about learning to work with your mind instead of fighting against it. Because once you learn how to protect your mind, you start living with a level of peace most people never reach.